So sings my soul. Praise my God of love and life. So sings my soul. Rejoice.
Song. I sing my song. Oh, I sing my song. I sing my song. How lovely is thy dwelling place, O Lord of hosts. My soul longs, yea, faints for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh sing with joy to the living God. As birds nest in trees, my soul wants to nest in you. Oh, I sing my song to the living God. I rejoice in the light of today. Reggae hallelujah means sing my song. Reggae hallelujah means pray. Whoa, I sing my song to the living God. I rejoice in the light of today. Reggae hallelujah means sing my song. Reggae hallelujah means pray. How sweet the air of spirit I breathe, O Lord of hosts. There is beauty all around. The birds sing to me. The hills and the grass sing with joy to the living God. As birds nest in trees, my soul wants to nest in you. Whoa, I sing my song to the living God. I rejoice in the light of today. Reggae hallelujah means sing my song. Reggae hallelujah means pray. Whoa, I sing my song to the living God. I rejoice in the light of today. Reggae hallelujah means sing my song. Reggae hallelujah means pray. Oh, I feel such love. I can make it through the day. I got a mountain of faith from God nesting when I pray. I dance in the light of God's goodness and God's grace. rejoice in the light of today. Reggae hallelujah means sing my song. Reggae hallelujah means pray. Reggae hallelujah means pray. Reggae hallelujah means pray.
Whoa! And our band, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I tell you, that's what happens when you don't come to church early. You don't know what you're going to miss. Oh, my goodness. Jennifer, thank you so much for that. Jennifer makes it a point of duty to sing some of my compositions on my birthday. This is the only one you're going to hear today, but, for those of you, there's one more?
Congregational song is yours.
Oh, okay. So we have two of my songs today, but Reggae Hallelujah is one of them that I composed some long time ago, and Bob Ralston arranged them. But yeah, it's
about 15 years ago.
It's not so long.
Yeah.
I'm not that old. Oh my goodness! It's good to see you all here on daylight. Are we saving in a daylight? Can you imagine that next year we won't have daylight saving? I can handle that. So we have Rob and we have Sam and we have David, and they're all here making that joyful noise back here. And Jennifer has just been doing an outstanding job. So good morning again. Are you all out there? That's a very soft good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, hey, when we're so few, it means you have to take more responsibility for filling up the church, right? So let our consciousness be expansive and let it be broad, because we are here to have a good time. I tell you, March is the best month of the year, of course.
It is.
Is it? Until we get into the next month, and the next month then becomes the best month of the year. And that's the way I approach it. And the fact that March happens to be my month, and today happens to be the day when the church is going to celebrate my birthday. So I don't want to get into the things that Debbie is going to announce here, our practitioner, Debbie Gale. But we're going to go downstairs, and we're going to sing, and we're going to dance, and we're going to eat. And Cecile went out and got some Jamaican food, and I don't know, those of you who want to stay back and be part of it, that will be just fine. So that's what we're going to do today. That's what my birthday is actually on the 16th. And, it was one of these things where we were trying to decide, God was trying to decide, should it be the 16th or the 17th? Should it be the 16th or the 17th? It's about the 17th is St. Patrick's Day. You can't have two important people on the same day. And so, I don't know. God said, well, you better come before that guy, because, you've been around longer than him anyway. But anyway, it's good to see you all. It's good to see you. What are you doing here? Where are you traveling these days? Oh, that's right. That's right. That is, and who's your friend back there? Oh, well, thank you. It's good to meet you. Yeah, most of the time I see him by himself floating around as if he's some kind of visiting angel, And he probably is. He just hasn't declared himself so, but he probably is. But anyway, I've certainly used up enough time up here. So what are we doing? We're singing. And so you're going to sing my song, another song by me. So let's get up and feel good about it, okay?
Please stand if you're able and join us in the congregational song. My heart is open wide with love. I love you true. I'm here as patient as a tree beneath skies so blue. To know you is to know the sun. I flush and glow. I feel the rapture of my life, and that I know. With open wings I'm flying strongly. In my aim I'm soaring high. The beloved one has touched my soul today. Though I have sometimes chosen wrongly, feeling good a while, beloved one. You spark the very best in me, my life's begun. I have no dread of all that's past, no future fear. I live intensely in the now with boundless care. With open wings I'm flying strongly, in my aim I'm soaring high. The beloved one has touched my soul today. Though I have sometimes chosen wrongly, feeling good I can't deny, 'cause I'm walking on the road that's freedom's way. 'Cause I'm walking on the road that's freedom's way.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And I have got to tell you what a joy it is to know that our minister is also a songwriter. I really enjoyed this morning tribute to the Chang genius as it comes to writing. So thank you, Dr. Chang. That is absolutely wonderful. So I'm here to bring you announcements and to welcome you and just to let you know that today is the day that the Lord has made. So we should rejoice and be glad in it. And so our announcements for today. Our practitioner on vigil is Elizabeth Turner. Elizabeth, raise your hand. Yes, Elizabeth will be in front of the organ after service to meet with anyone who would appreciate having prayer treatment with a practitioner. And I say this every time I come up here, and I can't miss saying it now. If you have not had a prayer by Elizabeth, you are missing something. So make sure, you don't have to have problems in your life in order to have prayer. You can pray to make sure what's going good in your life stays in your life. You can pray for gratitude and goodness that is already there. So let Elizabeth shore that up for you in prayer. I also want to let you know that the prayer boxes are in the foyer each Sunday before the service. You can fill out the request form and put it in the box, and your request will be read by practitioners and prayed by them for a month. Our practitioners will pray for your friends and family as well as for you. So don't be shy in your requests. And those prayer boxes come up here when Dr. Arthur prays during our section of the service. So they will be here after the service, but make sure you check for them in the foyer before the service begins. The next very important message is the Mystic Circle Wednesday night service by Zoom is at 6:30, and Dr. Arthur's topic for Wednesday is based on Holmes' chapter in Living the Science of Mind entitled How to Approach the Spirit. We would love to have you join us. If you don't have a Zoom invitation, please call the church office to be put on the list or see a staff member or usher after the service. And this is also a very important announcement. The annual membership meeting will be held on April 30th at 12 o'clock in the chapel. This is open to all members in good standing. This is your opportunity to hear about church business and planned activities, as well as to vote on any issues that are present for a vote. Do plan to attend this very important meeting. And today, we will be celebrating Dr. Arthur's birthday, which is actually next Thursday. We invite you all to come downstairs after the service to wish Dr. Arthur a happy birthday for a light lunch provided by Cecile Chang and for birthday cake. We will be trying out our new karaoke machine gifted to us by Dr. Doug Alston. Raise your hand, Dr. Alston, so they can know who you are. Thank you. So be thinking of the song or songs you would like to perform for this great occasion. Please come down after service and let's have some fun together. Now, If there are any first-time visitors, would you please stand? That's okay. This is family. We're all here together as family. So let's reach out our hands, let's stand and wave to our family here in the audience. Join me, please remain standing as we read the affirmation together on the front of your bulletin. I am grateful for the freedom Spirit has given me to become as I choose. Today, I use divine guidance to achieve mastery of my life and affairs. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning, church. You ready to go to the distance? All right, let's do it. Me, where the crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, this is where I'm meant to be. I'll be there someday. I can go the distance. I will find my way. If I can be strong, I know distance.
just want to say amen. That was incredible. And what a wonderful accompaniment. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Let's give her a big, you're welcome. And so now my duties are to read the scriptures and the science of mind and to lead us in the Lord's Prayer. So if you'd like to follow me in this, it's on the back of your bulletin. And I invite us to just get centered and listen to the words, not just as words, but as a calling of our heart. And this is from Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand, and gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. And from the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, Good for You, page 133, paragraph 3. The self is an offspring of spirit, and because the self is always one with its source, we are a necessary part of the universe. We are beloved of it. Everyone is an individualized center of God consciousness. And so now let's just center down and say, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer, the prayer that Jesus taught the disciples on how to pray. So let's say it as if we're saying it for the very first time. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
You're the heart of my contentment, hope in all I do. My God, you're the center of my joy.
And yes, I give such thanks to know that God is the center of my joy. God is the center of the joy of life and living. God is that presence and that power that is forever giving of itself, unconditionally, without end, always, in all ways. And so on this day, on this glorious, magnificent, sacred day, I call in the understanding of our hearts to know that we are the place where God is operating, where God is living, where God is showing up. And we give thanks for this service, thanks that we are here together at this appointed time, that this is no accident that we are here, that we are a part of this service just as everyone is a part of this service, that we have been called into this space and this place for the goodness of God to be shown through who and what each and every one of us are. So I give thanks for everyone who's pulled together to make this service possible today. I give thanks for Reverend Arthur, that this day we are celebrating his birth and his entry into this realm. I give thanks for all of those behind the scenes who are making this service possible, all of our ushers, all of the people in the technology. I give thanks for each and every one of you who are here because you are an integral part of what this service is. And I know that this service is an idea that is placed upon a hill in the light of what it is. And so for this, I say I am grateful, knowing that this service is holy, sacred, and it feeds our soul. I give thanks for this. I know that it is so, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Open my eyes that I may see fullness of truth thou hast for me. Place in my hands that wonderful key that shall unclasp and set me free. Silently now I wait for thee, ready, my God, thy will to see. Open my eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine.
And if the darkness is to keep us apart, and if the daylight feels like it's a long way off, and if your glass heart should crack, and for a second you turn back, oh no, be strong. Oh, walk on, walk on. What you got, they can't steal it. No, they can't even feel it. Walk on, walk on. Stay safe tonight. You're packing a suitcase for a place none of us has been. A place that has to be believed to be seen. You could have flown away, a singing bird in an open cage, who will only fly for freedom. Oh, walk on, walk on. What you got, they can't deny it, can't sell it or buy
Wow. Jennifer Hamill. Jennifer. You know, she looked so calm when she walked up here. You'd never know all that passion is inside. Thank you. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. And our band. Yeah. Ah, good morning again. You know, I must tell you that Pat Gentry and Ryan got this thing working on Friday, on our day off, of course. You know, we like staff people who work on their day off. We all do. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Ryan. Is Ryan up there? Okay. And of course, I don't know if, who else is up there? Oh, Deronaro. And who? I haven't heard his voice yet. Okay, no, I hear your voice. I just didn't hear him. Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. Good morning, founders. I want to talk to you about having mastery over your life. This month, we're talking about consciousness for effective change as my theme. We last week talked about you are a gift of possibilities. Next week, we're going to talk about a consciousness for effective change. And the last week, I'm going to talk about a scientific approach to spirituality. And so here I am this morning because I am speaking to you. That's all right now, Dominic. We can do without more voices. Yes, so this is a time when I'm speaking to you from the perspective of process science of mind. We have all been trained in the science of mind, where we understand that science means the way something works. That's all it means. It's not a mysterious thing. It's the way something works. Mind means God. There are many, many names of God. Mind is one of them. And so when we say we teach and practice the science of mind, we are talking about we're teaching and practice the way God works in the world. You know, it's not much use to us to know how God works where God is in heaven if we want to separate the idea of earth from heaven. What we want to know is how God works in the world. And when we talk about process science of mind, we're saying that life is process. That's what it is. It's constant change. Every single moment, according to quantum physics, the world comes into being and perishes. Comes into being and perishes. And yes, we don't quite understand that, but this is what not mysticism is saying, but what science is saying. And what we're saying is that every moment, it's like a death and resurrection. We talk about Jesus having death and resurrection. This is like a death and resurrection. But what's the point of all this? There is that wonderful stretch of time that we have, where there's a trajectory from when we are born to when we shuffle off this mortal coil, as Shakespeare would say. And in that time, we got a chance to take the gift of individuality that we get from God, and we get to return it as our gift of personality. We transform that gift of individuality into the personality we have become, and that's what we give back to God. And we might say, well, but you don't do that until you die. No, that's not true. We're constantly giving it back to God, because God is enjoying the fact that we're thriving and flourishing. And so God has put in before us options every single day for us to choose. And we are free to choose. Isn't that something? And so when we talk about mastery, we need to know something about the way that the great mind works in and through us and for us. And so what I want to do is say a little bit about self-mastery, and then I'm going to do something that I don't know if I can do. When I say I don't know if I can do, is because I'm always far too ambitious in my sermon, and I come here with much more materials than I can ever teach. But we're going to take a look at the 7 hermetic principles of self-mastery. Hermes Trismegistus, the great Egyptian sage. But we're not getting there right away. We're going to start with just what is self-mastery. I want to start with the Greeks and start with the idea of the Oracle of Delphi, or the Oracle of Delphi, whichever way we pronounce that. And it says succinctly, man, know thyself. We are to know ourselves. And this is really where true knowledge begins. Yes, we have to have knowledge of the world. We have to have knowledge of all the things about us. But as Jesus once said, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? What is the soul? The soul is your essence, the essence that you need to know of yourself. If you are going to become the wonderful conveyor of the illumination that only you alone can share with this life. And that next saying is Lao Tzu saying, the great Chinese sage, who says, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. We need to understand that the words we use for things don't make them things. You know, we say God, but what does God mean? God can mean anything to anybody and mean as many different things to many different people. And so we have to realize that the words only say there, but it cannot say where. And it cannot say what, because that would be to limit it. So, but we still do it, because that's the way we communicate. And so there is a presence in you that needs to be known at a deeper level, which is part of what your soul expresses and what your soul has to give to you. A third thing that we need to understand is the priestly writer of Genesis 1, writing somewhere around 400 BCE before Jesus, before Common Era, where he's saying that you're made in the image and likeness of God. And what does it mean to be made in the image and likeness of God? Certainly we look at ourselves and we see that we're all not really that good, but we are not that bad either. But what we are is we are pretty smart and creative. And it is in those aspects that we are most like God. And the other aspect of the goodness is what we call in process theology God's aim. God does not give you a purpose, but God gives you an aim. You choose your purpose. People say, well, I'm waiting for God to give me a purpose. They can always say that. But the fact is, we choose our purpose. You choose your purpose, and you need to choose your purpose. What God gives you an aim, the aim is goodness. You bring your purpose and you move it into that value of goodness, and you ask yourself each time, how is goodness operating through what I am aspiring toward? And so that's how you get the divine guidance in that aspect. A fourth thing is that you will have dominion over your life. This is again the writer of Genesis 1. It says we are here not to dominate life, but to take care of the kingdom, the inner kingdom within us, dominion over our lives. We are the kings and queens and emperors, if you will, of who we are. And nobody can take that away from us unless we allow it. And Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And what is that truth? The truth is not a piece of knowledge. The truth is the Logos, the divine spark within yourself, from which your creation springs. And that is not something that you can put your hand on. It's a sense of your reality that is within you. And that's what the truth is. The truth is that divine aspect of you that is an aspect of God, and that is most reflective of God. And finally, the kingdom of God is within you. which is a way of saying that the infinite potential of all that you can ever do and be is already vested in you. It is already given as God's goodness and gift to you. And that is what you turn to when you have an issue with your problem. And that is what you turn to when you want the mastery of life. Jesus expressed the mastery of life also in the way that Debbie read so wonderfully, that you are the light of the world. A city set upon a hill cannot be hidden, nor do men light a lamp and put it under a bushel, but on a lampstand, so that it gives light to the house, so all can see it and glorify the Father who is in heaven. And so it is that what you have to give, which is that inner light, the Logos that is within you, that is the light of the world, is not for you, it's for sharing. And the way that we become a master of our life is that we give our best to the world, and in doing so, it is reflected back, because that's how life is. Everything is reflecting God. Everything is reflecting the goodness of God. And that is what you uniquely have, and no one has it the way you have it. And that is what the individuality aspect of you is. And you bring that to your everyday life. Now, what we need to have when we are moving towards self-mastery is that we need to have a vision of ourselves. And we need to have a belief in that vision. But that vision is not about belief and faith only. That vision is also about values. What are your values? Because you see, you can have goals, but goals are not values. But what makes your goal a good goal is whether or not they're guided by your values. Love, goodness, kindness. All these things are your values. Harmony, peace. These are the eternal verities, as Dr. Holmes would call them. And these are the values. So when you're doing something, you can ask questions. Is that being guided by my value, or am I just looking at the goal and I don't care what happens to people, I just want to get mine. And they have to worry about themselves because, I'm doing my thing. There is no real my thing in life. There's a bigger our thing in life. And it is big enough to accommodate who you are individually. But then it coaxes you out of that little shell of me and mine and my ego to that sense of the wideness of God's arms, so that you become the wideness of God's arms. And you open it up not just to yourself, but to the world that you live in. And self-mastery is coming through you. But yet, we live in a world where there are the 5 unavoidable givens. Everything changes and ends. Things do not always go according to plan. Life is not always fair. Pain is part of life. And people are not always loyal and loving. These are givens in life. We cannot change them, but we can change ourselves in a way that we can accommodate them. And though they are there, they will not be a power against what you need to do to fulfill your destiny. And so what we're seeing here, these are collectively are like the mountain that Jesus talked about when he says that if you have the faith of a grain of mustard seed and you say to that mountain, be cast into the sea, and do not doubt, it shall be done. And so there is a transformation that comes along with the idea that you are mastering your life. You're coming into a place where suddenly you're not so much intimidated. You're not overwhelmed by all the things that need to be done. But you can come to a place where you understand that in the smallest, most infinitesimal aspect of life, God is there, and God is certainly there within you. There's not a spot where God is not. And today, when you look at the issues of your life, you can say to that mountain, that obstacle, do not regard your reading of the scripture as if you're reading prose. Regard it more as if you're reading poetry, because things have symbolic meanings. And when you become too literal about what you think you're reading, then you have had the experience, but you missed the meaning, as T.S. Eliot would say. It is the poetry of understanding. It's the symbolic understanding. It's how you understand that the characters in the Bible are archetypes of what is happening within your world, your inner world. And they're showing you in these great stories how to correct them, how to bring yourself into mastery, how to bring about harmony and peace and love and goodness and prosperity within your life to the extent that you need to do to understand them. So as we go on this journey of self-mastery, we must realize that there has to be self-control. There has to be self-responsibility. There has to be self-maturity. And there have to be spiritual maturity. And spiritual maturity doesn't mean that you have read every single Bible in the world and you can quote every great thinker in the world. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is not what it is. What it is really is that you are being transformed into the authentic person that you really are. And when you're transformed into that authentic person, your world is also transformed. Not that problems are not out there, but you begin to see problems as opportunities disguised. And you begin to see where your work is. As Lao Tzu says, the bad man is the good man's job. And so the things that you might mostly criticize, you're beginning to find yourself part of the solution. Because that's the way life is. That's the nature of life. And you can't change the nature of life, but you can work with it. So these are my preliminary comments about self-mastery. But I better get away from that now if I'm going to get a chance to share a few ideas about the Hermetic principles of self-mastery. And there are 7 of those principles written by the great sage. And there is a discussion as to whether it is Greek or it's Egyptian. And some scholars think it's both Greek and Egyptian. But for me, I will just accept that it is Hermes Trismegistus, the Egyptian, because I feel more comfortable with that. And they call him the thrice great Hermes, 3 times great Hermes. Hermes Trismegistus, that's what that means. So there are 7 principles, and the first is mentalism, the second is correspondence, the third is vibration, the fourth is polarity, the fifth is rhythm, the sixth is cause, and the seventh is gender. And if you don't remember any of this, don't worry about it. My idea is not that I'm going to come here one day and tell you all these things and you're just going to get it in your mind. Don't worry about it. Just kind of let it sit there. It is how we gradually change consciousness, as we talk about. Even when you don't think you get it or can remember all of it, it's not as important than the fact that you're in the atmosphere of what we're discussing, and then something is touching your heart and allowing you to feel, this little morsel of something tastes pretty good to me. You know, that kind of way. It's kind of like when you go somewhere to a party and they give you these little hors d'oeuvres, you know, especially when you're hungry, you want a big plate of food and they're giving you this little tip of thing. And then they pass by and then you can't get any more. You know, you said, well, wait a second, I want another piece, and it's already gone. But anyway, so let me see what mentalism is here. Mentalism is not unlike what we practice in the science of mind. Mentalism teaches that creation begins with thought, or thought shape the world. There's a creative factor between what is real and what we feel. What is real and what we feel. And you could find that even in Buddha's saying, where he says that all that you are is the result of all you've thought. Because these great insights were not known just to one group of people alone. They're just called different things in different places. We find Jesus said, as you believe, so be it done unto you. That's mentalism. It is your belief, it's your thought working. Solomon, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. William James, one of the greatest discoverers of my generation, is that a man can alter his attitude, and change his behavior, change his world. So you can alter your life by altering your attitude. Ernest Holmes says simply, change your thinking, change your life. So you have been practicing mentalism. It's kind of like the man who got rich, this man in the Middle East, they found oil, and all his life he wanted to be educated, and he always wanted to know what prose and poetry was, and he got a teacher start teaching him what prose and poetry is, and the teacher said, prose is what you've been talking with all the time. That is prose. And he said, really? And yes, that's what you've been saying. And then poetry is just a special way of talking, more symbolically. And so in a sense, he has been using the language all the time without knowing that he is using the language. So I'm telling you, you've been using mentalism all the time, whether you know it or not. Correspondence means that you've heard it all the time, as above, so below. As within, so without. As without, so within. You find it also as an element in Jesus' prayer. You just did that in the Lord's Prayer, that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. You see, and heaven is not a place, it's a state, it's a consciousness. It is the consciousness that creates. It's the consciousness of all possibilities. It's the consciousness that you have surrounded in your acceptance, and now you can use, and now you are going from that filter, and the filter is faith or belief that takes you from a belief, a thought, to a demonstration. And so that is what correspondence is. And so you can understand that from the Kabbalion, which is the book of, which is Hermes' text. You can buy a book called the Kabbalion, and you find the work of Hermes Trismegistus in it. And he's saying that, everything reflects each other. And that's one of the reasons why, when you look at the Genesis thing about we are made in the image and likeness of God, we are here to reflect God. This is the correspondence that is working, that is operating. And so you know it without even knowing that you know it. When you know it, you find that you can create your life and create your destiny, because it begins where? It begins in mind. It begins in mind. And then we get to vibration. And the vibration is where science observed, but people have observed it long before we have gotten to modern science. The Greeks talked about atoms long before we could even imagine what atoms were like. And at that time they thought atoms were the smallest things they could find. Now we find things that are infinitesimally small, smaller than the atoms within the atoms. But science says that everything is in constant motion. The universe vibrates, and you vibrate. And sometimes you find yourself feeling a little down, and you go and you put on what is the equivalent for you that would be for me probably some Bob Marley music. and it picks you up, yes? Or you might play a Mozart, or you might play some of the classic. Any kind of music can pick me up, because I'm a person who feel that vibration. So that's what you're doing. You're changing the vibration. And sometimes you can do it with affirmation and change your vibration. Chanting, for example, is a way of changing your vibration. Meditation, contemplation, all these things can change your vibration. Walking around, begin to feel the rhythm of your body, and looking at the trees and begin to talk to them. and talk to them don't make too many people see you talking to them because they don't understand. They may commit you to somewhere that you don't want to go, and that's bad vibration. So the idea is kind of look around and make sure nobody's watching you when you're talking to your trees. Okay, but realize that you're talking to God. That's what you're doing. Creation is in the image of God. It's not just you. You know, there's the feeling that when Genesis said you're made in the image and likeness of God, and say, okay, that's us, human being, that's me. And you look around the plants and you say, okay, I plant, but you're not made in the image of God. But everything is made in the image of God. Everything is from God. When you begin to have a self-mastery, spiritual self-mastery, you begin to see all things as one. And yet, they're all different, even when you know that they're one. And so you have that vibration. When one of the most wonderful things is when Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Buddhist teacher who died recently, he has that little saying, when you're feeling stressed out, he says, say, breathing in I calm my body, breathing out I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know it's a wonderful moment. And you keep saying that. And all of a sudden, a transformation takes place. What have you done? You have changed the vibration from stress. So when you go home, you can write that one down. Even if you can't remember the exact words. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. How hard is that to remember? Dwelling in the present moment, I know it's a wonderful moment. And make sure you're smiling when you're doing it. You can't say, breathing out, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. You can't do that. Your face must know that it's working with you. You can't have part of your body working one way and the other part working another way. You get that? You go in front of the mirror and make sure you're smiling. If you're not smiling, you're not doing it right. And then when you know what you feel like when you're smiling, the whole world is going to do what? Smile with you. Didn't they say that? When you're smiling, the whole world, where am I now? Polarity. I'm number 4 now, polarity. And in polarity, and I have only a couple minutes, I don't know I'm going to get this done. Everything has its polar opposites. We live in a world of pairs of opposites. And so if there's good, there's bad, there's right, there's wrong, there's up, there's down, there's black, there's white. And it's not one necessarily better than others until you get into good and bad. Things are just different. We just have variety. A white flower and a pink flower is no different except in color than a red flower. It's not a question of which one is better. We must understand that everything shouldn't be judged on better and worse. We should come to a place of appreciation of the variety of life. And then everything will be good. Everything will be wonderful. And so when you want to see the difference between hot and cold, it's just temperature, right? Hot and cold, just temperature. So you're cold. Right now we have been cold, and those of us who have been cold have found that the gas bill has gone up about 300%. I don't know what these people are doing. so that now makes you stressful as well as cold. The idea is to understand that stress is just also another side of being calm. So what do? Breathing in, I calm my body. And you just bring it back. So the polarity is there, but they're on the same continuum. All you have to do is go to the opposite and affirm the opposite for yourself. If you're feeling unhappy, what do? You start affirming happiness. You start listening to things that make you happy. You start looking at things because you're changing the polarity. All right, let's go to rhythm. And rhythm is a wonderful thing. And rhythm is the way things flow. Everything in life is flowing. And life has its ebb and flow. It can't be always high. It can't be always low. The Buddha says, follow the middle path. Get the path where there is equanimity, there is calmness, there is a kind of an equality in your attitude. Yes, you can get excited. Yes, you can get a little depressed, but don't stay down there. Bring yourself back up to keep yourself healthy, because when you stay down there, your cells have to work too hard. And before you know it, you use up the energy of your cells and they no longer can function right. Your heart doesn't function right. Nothing functions right. So this business of rhythm, if you're going to have rhythm, and I don't mean that you have to be able to dance to a beat. Everybody has rhythm, whether you're dancing to the beat or not. What you need to do is to also exercise. You need to exercise. If you eat, you must exercise. My father used to say, if you eat, you must work. If you work, you must eat. But now I change it to, if you eat, you must exercise. Do you eat every day? Exercise every day. It doesn't have to be a gym. You doesn't have to go walk for 2 hours. Do some exercise every day, because you do what? You eat every day. And your body needs that. So exercise every day. Zen Buddhism calls the rhythm flow, Wu Wei. And positive psychology calls it flow. When you are in the state of flow is when you are using your talent and doing the things you love to do, and the rhythm is there. And you've said, oh, where did the time go? Have you ever been that? Yes, you've all been there. And this is a state that you can bring into your life. This is one of those 7 wonderful ways to mastery that we have gotten from Hermes. So you can use that. You can also call it being in the zone. You see a basketball player, and suddenly whatever he throws up there goes in the basket. I saw a game like that the other night. This guy was almost 100% shooting the back. I've never seen anything like that. I think he ended up with about 75 or something like that % shooting in the basket. Anyway, the 6th is cause and effect. And you all are familiar with cause and effect. That's what science of mind teaches all. So I won't spend too much time on that. To say that every single thing has a cause and every single thing leads to an effect. Now, the problem with most of us is whether we start to act as if we are the effect and not the cause. Think about that. When you begin to feel victimized, when you feel that people have power over you, you are coming from the point of view of effect and not cause. And you need to rekindle that strength, reclaim that power within yourself that Jesus talked about, that power of God, the kingdom that is within you. You need to reclaim it. Don't give it away. And affirm that I am the cause of my life. I'm the master of my destiny. And I'm determining the direction, the trajectory in which I'm going. And I'm not allowing anyone else to take that from me. And I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm not talking about being egotistical. I'm talking about mastery over your life. You are the king and queens of your kingdom. And if you're not ruling properly, what's going to happen? You're going to have confusion and chaos. And God is not the author of confusion. So the confusion is your own acceptance that you are an effect and not a cause. So Hermes is trying to tell us not to go there. Remember, as you sow, so shall you reap. And whatever you put out there shall return to you. 2 or more laws come into that. The law of sowing and reaping and the law of circulation. Whatever you put out there is what you should expect to come back to you. So put out what is good and what is wonderful. Now, what is gender? I think I'm going to get to it. A little late, but I'm getting there. And gender has to do with that everything has a masculine and a feminine component. And whether you're a woman or a man, you have a masculine and feminine component. And there are times when you need to be assertive, which is associated with a male aspect of yourself, and a part when you need to be loving and kind and nurturing. And men and women have this both. And what you can do is to begin to look at your relationship and see when there have been times when you've been too aggressive. And say, oh, could I have dealt with that more kindly, more lovingly? And then that feminine aspect of yourself will come about. And then there are times when you make somebody run over you, like you're a doormat. Why? Because you want to feel humble and you want to feel good and you don't want to start any trouble. And what you have to do is say, wait a second now. Am I standing up for myself enough? And the masculine aspect of yourself comes out. I could spend much more time on any one of these, talking about them, but the idea is that you've gotten a flavor of these 7 wonderful gifts by Hermes Trismegistus. And what I want you to do is to realize that you can use them. They're mentalism, so it's the hermetic principle of self-mastery. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Did I talk about all of them? Yes. Do you have them now? Yes, I'm going to check every one of you when you walk out there this morning and say, what is number 5? No, I'm not. And so, my friends, you know, we are to practice these principles, and if we practice them effectively, we will come to understand what it is to master our lives. God bless you all. Thank you much. All right, this is our time for standing up and singing the doxology, and this wonderful Jennifer is here, and she's going to get you moving while the ushers are coming forward.
So please stand if you're able and join us in the doxology. The words are in your bulletin.
Praise God that good is everywhere. Praise to the love we all may share. The life that thrills in you and me. Praise to the truth that sets us free. Amen.
And Father, Mother God, how wonderful it is to be alive today. It's a good day to be alive. And it's a good day to feel the presence of other people alive around us. And for us to come into this community of love and goodness. And to give our gift, realizing that as we give, so do we receive. This is the law of circulation. And so we are here to support our spiritual center, from which we take our inspiration and move into our lives to make that expansion that we desire to be fulfilled in the here and the now. And so we bless the gift, and we bless the giver, and we dedicate the gift to the truth that set us free. And so it is. Thank you, ushers. You may be seated, everyone. And we're going to have the wonderful Jennifer. And I just cut off my mic. I couldn't even announce you properly. The wonderful Jennifer Hamill is coming back to sing for us again. Give her a hand. Yes.
You can be amazing, you can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast or be the backlash of somebody's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle neath your skin. Kept on the inside, no sunlight, sometimes the shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave with what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. See you, I just want to see you. I wanna see you be brave. I just wanna see you. I wanna see you be brave. Everybody's been there, everybody's been stared down by the enemy. Fallen for the fear and done some disappearing, bound down to the mighty. Don't run. Stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in. Show me how big your brave is. Say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave with what you want to say and let the
Oh, that was Jennifer. Wow, thank you. Thank you. And she doesn't have to be so brave when she has such a good voice. You know, easy for her to say that. Give her a hand. And our band. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, we have come to the end of the service, but not the end of the day. Remember now, Cecile has some Jamaican food downstairs, and it's to celebrate my birthday. And those of you who can stay back, just realize that it means if you stay back, then you won't be raining on my parade. I don't mean that. Very happy to see all of you today, and I'm glad that so many of you remember it's daylight saving. And did you all remember it was daylight saving? Let me see how many hands. All of you who remember it was daylight. Oh, wow. Wow. And I got to tell you, I was a bit fretting that we didn't announce it last week. And that, gee, you know, as many people as we have here, and you know how many people we have here, there would be many less. How about that for putting things positively? Yeah, isn't that something? That is hard work. You know that? That is hard work. All right, I'm very happy to see you, and we're going to do our praying now and wind up your service. And let's turn within and feel that presence right where we are. And the key really is feeling. To feel that peace. To feel that harmony, to feel that love, to feel the infinite possibilities of life flowing through you. Because everything is in vibration, and the vibration within you right now is echoing the creative vibration of this entire universe to do and to be. And we are in this wonderful flow of becoming. And in each becoming of each moment, we can be the cause, or we can be simply the effect. And so we're coming from cause, because we have this potency in us to know what to do, when to do it, where to do it, and how to do it, because it's inspired by Spirit, inspired by the intelligence of the universe itself. And so I speak the word right now, blessing all for health, to know that every cell, tissue, fiber, organ, system of your body is reflecting God's perfection, God's perfect prototype of how to work harmoniously within your body system. And I'm speaking the word right now for relationship, because we are more than just the boundary of skin. We are beings that stretches out from who we are, interbeings, and being touched by each other. And that being touched by each other is the very miracle of life itself. To know that I live not just for myself, but I live for others. And I speak the word for success and for affluence, because I recognize that life is the field of giving, sowing and reaping, giving and receiving. And so, as we sow, so do we receive. And so right now, I know that divine guidance is allowing us to put out what needs to be put out, so that the flow of our desire will come right back to us. I speak my word blessing all of you in every way, in making this church viable after all these years. And I bless our country, and I bless our world for peace and harmony. And I know it is good. And so I say, thank you, Father, Mother, God. And together let us affirm, and so it is. Please stand for the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. The peace that passes all understanding, and so it is.